A little over a week ago, the gods working at Supergiant Games blessed gamers with early access to Hades 2, the long-awaited sequel to one of the greatest mythology-based games ever made. And I've already spent several dozen hours cursing, hexing, and concocting my way through the underworld as the game's new protagonist, Melinoe, the daughter of the underworld's rulers Hades and Persephone, sister of Zagreus, the god of blood, and disciple of Hecate, the goddess of witchcraft. Oh, and we can't forget that she's a student of the legendary Skelemius. Back when Hades 2 was first announced, I remember the excitement and confusion when Melinoe was introduced. The community was thrilled to have a new character to get to know and bond with, not to mention she has a badass design, but the vast majority of players had no idea who she was, including myself. Supergiant Games would never steer us wrong though. They'd done their research into the deep, dark depths of Greek myth, found the incredibly obscure goddess, and brought her to life. Which is ironic for a goddess of ghosts. But the question I'm here to answer is, how much did they get right? What is going on, everybody? My name is John Solo, and every week I unpack the mythology and folklore that your favorite movies, shows, books, and video games used as inspiration. And when it comes to Hades 2, the developers did not have a lot to work with. But as you're about to see, that did not stop them from staying true to Melinoe's mythology while putting some incredibly creative spins on it. First though, I want to let you Greek mythology fans know that if you've ever wanted to explore the land that gave birth to the mythos, you can join me and up to 24 other members of our community on a trip to Greece this September. We'll be exploring Athens, tasting authentic Nemean wine, touring ancient sites like the Theater of Epidaurus, sea kayaking, and a lot more, all with our own personal tour guide. The trip is scheduled for September 7th to September 13th of this year, and the deadline for reserving your spot is coming up quick at June 8th. If you want to learn more, you can watch this video where I break it down in detail, or hit the Trova Trip link in the description. And remember, the booking price covers all of your hotel fees and activities, and they offer payment plans. I am super stoked for this trip and ready to experience Greece alongside you amazing people who've allowed me to indulge in my love for it as a career. I hope to see you there. The only known reference to Melinoe found in any of the ancient Greek texts is in the Orphic hymn to Melinoe. The Orphic hymns come from the cult of Orphism, which featured the story of the poet-hero Orpheus and his descent into the underworld to save his wife Eurydice as one of its central myths. There are 87 hymns in total dedicated to just about every god you can think of. The first Hades game actually referenced these hymns with Orpheus' hymn to Zagreus, where he tells the underworld prince's origin story from real world myth, but it's played off as a practical joke on him by Zagreus and Dionysus.
You see, the Titans, they once tore me limb from limb, but then my heart was saved, and that's where Dionysus comes from. That is the connection between us. You understand me, mate?
Zag, I heard you got to Orpheus. He's got this whole entire ballad now about how you are really me, or maybe it's the other way around. I have no idea.
The following translation of the hymn to Melinoe was done by Apostolos Athanasakis and Benjamin M. Wolkow in 2013. And it goes as follows. I call upon Melinoe, saffron-cloaked nymph of the earth, whom revered Persephone bore by the mouth of the Cocytus river upon the sacred bed of Cronian Zeus. In the guise of Hades, Zeus tricked Persephone and through wily plots bedded her. A two-bodied specter sprang forth from Persephone's fury. This specter drives mortals to madness with her airy apparitions as she appears in weird shapes and strange forms. Now plain to the eye, now shadowy, now shining in the darkness. All this in unnerving attacks in the gloom of night. O goddess, O queen of those below, I beseech you to banish the soul's frenzy to the ends of the earth. Show to the initiates a kindly and holy face. And that is literally everything that we know about her. As you can see, it doesn't look like much. But if we dig into each line a little bit more, we can find some diamonds and uncover all the details the Hades 2 developers incorporated into the character. Firstly, the speaker of the hymn gets Melinoe's attention, refers to her saffron outfit, and mentions her association with the earth. Saffron is an orange-yellow color, which you can clearly see Melinoe is rocking in the game. But if you can't see it, Homer will describe it for you in these exact terms.
Far below, down in the deepest reaches of the underworld, awaits the ancient foe of saffron-veiled goddess Melinoe.
I'll admit, I'm not normally a fan of bright orange drip, but I think it fits with this game's spookier aesthetic. Now, because Hades resided below the Earth's surface, ancient Greeks believed that anything that came from the Earth belonged to him, from fruits and vegetables to priceless gems. Hence his nickname, the Rich One. As a chthonic nymph of the earth, Melinoe also has a special connection with anything that grows from it, which may be why the developers let her garden and harvest plants and dig for minerals that she uses in the brewing cauldron. Now in the game, Melinoe is the princess of the underworld, the daughter of Hades and Persephone, born to them sometime after their son Zagreus reunited the couple in the first game, and evidently right before Kronos returned to take the underworld back from Hades.
First I heard our last best hope for stopping Kronos was the second-born of Hades and his queen, I said. Wait, ooh, so then they had a girl. The Titan must have struck your father's house right after you were born.
But in myth, her lineage gets real messy, because the next lines of the hymn describe Melinoe as born to Persephone by the mouth of the Cocytus River, after Zeus disguised himself as Hades to trick Persephone into sleeping with him, an absolute scumbag move. Not only is Persephone married to his brother, she's also Zeus's daughter, and technically niece, since he had her with his sister Demeter. The point is, Zeus violated her in at least 3 different ways, and the worst part is, this isn't even the first time that he pulled these kinds of shenanigans. Prior to Persephone's marriage with Hades, Demeter hid her away to live in a cave in Sicily, which gives me Mother Gothel vibes if I'm being honest. But anyway, the only male who knew Persephone's location was Zeus, and he used that info for nefarious purposes. While in the form of a serpent, the king of the gods quietly slithered into Persephone's chambers, then he slithered into Persephone. This union would result in the birth of none other than Zagreus, and if you want to hear the rest of his incredibly messed up origin story, you can watch my episode on him, link on screen and in the description. So in the actual mythology, Melinoe is not Hades' biological daughter, if you can even call gods biological beings. But because Zeus had taken Hades' physical form, she did still inherit some of Hades' qualities. The hymn describes her birth as a 2-bodied specter springing forth from Persephone's fury, which didn't make a lot of sense to me, so I looked at another translation done by Thomas Taylor back in 1792. In his version, the same line reads as, "Hence partly black thy limbs and partly white, from Hades dark, from Zeus ethereal bright." In other words, one arm and leg are black, while the other arm and leg are white. And I feel pretty confident that the game's Melinoe having a transparent skeleton arm is a reference to this. So now we've got an even more detailed physical description. Saffron drip with half black limbs and half white limbs. But what did Melinoe do as a goddess? Before I answer that, I want to say thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this episode. Having your own website is the key to running your own business, marketing yourself, or sharing your passion with the world, which is why I've been partnering with Squarespace for years. They took the intimidating task of building a website and put it on easy mode so anyone can do it with their new guided design system, Squarespace Blueprint. At the very start, you could choose from professionally curated layouts and styling options. Then you can fully customize it however you see fit with Squarespace's revolutionary drag and drop technology to build a unique online presence from the ground up. And because every layout is optimized for every device, you can rest easy knowing that everyone who checks out your site will have a seamless, enjoyable experience. So if you want to take your small business, side hustle, or passion project to the next level, go to squarespace.com/JohnSolo to start a completely free trial and use code JohnSolo to get 10% off your first purchase. So what exactly was Melinoe's job as a goddess? Well, I feel like I should be clear that some experts think Melinoe, which means dark-minded, is just another name the Orphics used for Hecate, the goddess of witchcraft. Everything that would be considered Melinoe's domain is just a small component of Hecate's domain. That's why it's perfect that the game's Melinoe is a disciple of Hecate and a witch in training.
You have gone far, Melinoe, and you bested me. Gave me quite a scrape at that. There is
Thank you, Headmistress. Although I know that I could not have bested you had you held nothing back.
You know? Why do you self-impose such limits on your capability? Alter your thoughts. I shall see you again out there.
But let's just assume she's a totally separate being. The hymn describes Melinoe as scaring the absolute piss out of mere mortals in the dead of night, either by passing them with the train of ghosts that she leads through Greece, or by appearing before them in weird shapes and strange forms. But as unnerving as her presence is, she actually does help us out in a meaningful way. In the last few lines of the Orphic hymn, the singer pleads to Melinoe to banish the soul's frenzy to the ends of the earth, which I interpret as get these spooky ghosts back to the underworld. And I think the game agrees with me on this, because Melinoe can console and compel any distraught shades she finds along her journey, showing them a kindly and holy face just as the hymn requests. We may not know a lot about the Orphic cult, but with their religion centering around the story of Orpheus' journey to and from the underworld, it would make sense if they also believed restless spirits could escape the underworld from time to time. In order to keep these souls contained, they made sacrifices to Melinoe, sometimes to express their gratitude for her services, but also with gifts meant to soothe the restless ghosts. We aren't given any details about how these sacrifices went down or what was sacrificed, but it most likely would have followed the usual ritual for chthonic sacrifices. The sacrificial animal, which almost always had dark hair or fur, would be lowered into a pit, had its throat slit, then they would have burned its entire body before possibly burying it. Melinoe does not receive any such sacrifices in the game, but that's largely due to mankind not knowing she exists yet. Hell, when the game starts, she's meeting most of Olympus for the first time.
Well, look at you, hot stuff. Come to help the elderly. Oh, what a good girl you are. And here I was, just about to burn this whole blasted place to the ground myself.
Oh, and can I just say that I love everything about Hestia's design? Great decision to make her an adorable old lady with a fiery side. Pun intended.
Should have seen it, dearie, when we brought old Kronos down. Took 6 of us at least, but we got him. Little wonder he's all sore about it still. We'll just have to dispose of him more thoroughly. Cremation, mayhaps.
So now you know everything about Melinoe, the Greek goddess of ghosts, which means you're ready to dive into Hades 2. I swear they're not sponsoring this episode. But if someone at Supergiant Games is watching, please know that I'm open to it. Also, if you guys need any more voice talent, let me know. You don't have to pay me, and I'll play anyone you want. Even Kronos' bidet if that's what it takes. Anyway, what are your thoughts on Melinoe's mythology? Does she sound like your kind of goddess, or would you be directing your sacrifices to another deity? Also, let me know if you want me to cover more obscure gods and goddesses, especially if they make appearances in pop culture, because I love this stuff. I'll see you all again next Thursday when we dive back into Egyptian mythology. Until then, my name is John Solo, and remember, John shot first.